Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Jay. Oh, I am Jay. This is Jay. I am Jay, and this is Homeschool Your Kids podcast. And today we have with us Sauywanna. And introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sauywanna Davis. I am the COO and Operation Managers of Keychain Karnival.
Okay, tell us about Keychain Carnivals.
Keychain Karnival actually started when I was a teacher at Job Corps. I was teaching math and technology. And I was getting a little bored with the traditional way they was wanting us to teach math. So I went to Walmart and was scavenging the craft aisle to see if there was something I can do that was creative and innovative. Because if I didn't, I was going to go back to the IT field, which is my background anyway.
Okay.
So I saw this bead kit and I was like, well, let me get this. And, we just have a free Friday. I'm grading their work, I'm grading their test for the week, and just let them be creative. So I did that. And they made the cats, rabbits, cows, dogs that was in the kit. And the following week, I had to hear the wrath from the other kids because we alternated groups. How come
Mhm.
we didn't get to do keychains in your classroom? So I went back to the store, bought another kit, and let them do the same thing. But we don't want to do the animals, Miss Davis. We want some more challenging, some more fun. I said, well, let's go on the internet and see what we can find, what designs we can find. So they found a slew of different varieties of characters, animals, people, cars, like all of those different things. So I purchased more supplies because what was at Walmart wasn't going to be enough for the amount of students that I had. And we made different keychains. I made the cat in the hat, and
Wow.
they made a bunch of characters: Snoopy, Roadrunner, the Smurfs, the Bugs Bunny, and what's the Elmer Fudge. They made all of those different things. So they had them all on my desk for me to seal them. And okay, I went through the process of sealing them, but as I was doing some things on the computer, God spoke to me as if He was sitting in the chair at my desk. He said, do math from your keychain. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, I like stopped typing. And I picked up a pencil and a piece of paper. And soon as the pencil hit the paper, I wrote nonstop, just solving, just looking at my keychain and just write down equations, formulas, expressions. Like it was nothing to me. And when I got done, I had completed 5 math concepts just from my cat in the hat design.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I was like, okay, I'm making this a class project. And my son came into my classroom after school because he would get dropped off to me. And he saw all these keychains on the desk. And he was like, whoa, mom, like, what is this? I said, well, it's keychains, Kaionta. And he was like, I want to make keychains. I said, well, it's not just keychain, it's math related. Math, and as a 7-year old, how you gonna do math with cat in the hat? Like, explain that to me. So we went to the board and I was like, okay, here's your marker. Okay, how many colors do I have in my design? And he counted them. I say, write them on the board. I say, now add all of them up and put total by it. So he did that. I say, now a fraction is a number that has a top, a line, and a bottom. So the top is your numerator, the bottom is your denominator. And you can say above, below, numerator, denominator, top, bottom. All those different words means the same thing. I say, so look at what you wrote down from the red beads that I had in my design and make me a fraction. Now, remember, the bottom number, the denominator, is the total bees I used in my design. I say, and what's your total number of bees? He was like 52. I was like, okay, what's the red number of bees? He was like 10. I say, so now write me a fraction.
Nice.
And I had him go through that process. He talking about, oh, now I see how you can write a fraction from your design. And he was like, what's next? I said, you have to convert it to a decimal, then a percent, then get a ruler and measure it, and then tell me what geometry angles you see in there. And he
Mm.
said, well, how do you do the fraction to the decimal? I say, long division. I'm 7. I don't know long division. I say, I know you don't know long division, but I'm going to show you how you do long division. And you have to know your timetables in order to do long division. So I showed him the remaining 3 processes of how you do the math from the conversion. When we got to the last one, which was geometry, there was no formula or anything from that. So I just showed him the right angle, a straight, acute, obtuse, and I wrote that on the board. I say, now looking at my keychain, what angles can you see in there? Not what I see, because we can have 2 different identities, what we see. And I can say, well, I'm going to use row 3 and column 4 and give you my angle. You may use the arm and the leg or the arm and the body. I say, so what do you see in there? He said, I think I can see a right angle with the arm to the body because the arm is sticking out. I was like, yeah. He said, that's it for that? I say, that's it for that. That's the basic. He was like, well, I still want to do keychains. I said, okay, well, you got to learn the math from it. Can we go to the store and get me a kid? I was like, yes, we can. So after that, he making keychains, and my mom saw what we was doing. She was like, what y'all doing? I was like, we making keychains for her be. She was like, I want me a kid too. So I bought her a kid so it wouldn't be no confrontation between the two of them when he's over her house after school. They had their own little kid with their own little materials. And
That is so cute.
yeah, and when I would come and pick him up, look what we made. Look what Granny made. I made this on my own. I was like, y'all jamming right here. And he would in the stores, Mama, can you buy me a Blade Blade? Can you buy me a T-Rex? Can you buy me a Hot Wheel? Can you buy me a book? Can you buy me? I say, hold up.
Mhm.
I said, how about you make some keychains and see if you can sell them? Okay.
Yes.
So my students, my mom, him, and I, we made keychains. And he had an event. The Kwanzaa was coming up, and it was 2 days. And then he had a breakfast the same day of the Kwanzaa from his mentor organization. So the breakfast was first. My mother went to the Kwanzaa so we can do his breakfast, and then we joined her after. And he's put his keychains out there, set it up, and he made $75 in 2 hours at his breakfast selling keychains that me, my students, and my mom helped him make. And he
Oh
was talking
wow.
about how he's learning middle school and high school math from it.
Oh
So,
wow.
so that was the start of it. And we left there and went to the Kwanzaa. And from there, he had his little billboard and talking to people because he was a talker. He did his first public speaking when he was 6.
Oh wow.
And in his mentor organization, every Saturday they would have notes to read. You know what's coming up. If there's any student that received any acknowledgement from schools, letters of acceptance for college. So they always let him do it because he spoke and he could read. He read kids' college acceptance letters. All of that stuff. He was the speaker when he
That
went
is so
on Saturday.
awesome.
Gave it to him. So at the Kwanzaa, he's talking to our local community, and I was like, "What's this?" He was like, "It's keychains, and we use math beads. We use beads to talk about math." And they was like, "Man, well, how you do math out of this?" He's like, "Let me tell you. Let me explain to you." So they looking at him like, "How old is this kid?" And I was like, "He's 7." He was like, yeah, so that's how you do math. You count the colors, you total them up, and you make a fraction out of each color. Then you do long division and convert that fraction to a decimal.
Mm.
So some people didn't want a keychain. They just gave him 10, 15, $20
Oh
just for his
my.
presentation, just by talking about how you can learn math through keychains. So
Yes.
in total, for the Kwanzaa, he made over $200 selling keychains that weekend
Mm. That
because
is
we made a
beautiful.
lot. We made a lot. And some people didn't get keychains, but they gave him
And it,
money for
yeah.
for him being able to speak well like he was at 7.
I was gonna
And
say
then,
being awesome. He got money for being awesome.
right, and then he made a board. I helped him make a board um, for Black History. So he took that board with him. And on that board, it was only keychains that was made for African American being the first invention, whatever, whether it's sports, basketball, football, the heart surgeon, the clock, the first Girl Scout leader. So all of the keychains that he had on this board were things that African American was the first to do, who invented it. And then he had their name, their picture, and then he talked about that person. So he added history to it
Mm.
along with the math. So they was impressed by that as well. So that's how Keychain Carnival got started, because of his enthusiastic and him taking an interest in wanting to make the keychain. But I told him, you have to learn the math behind it.
That is so, I didn't even know it was math related, honey. So that is just amazing. Like, I didn't even know that was
Thank
part of the
you.
equation. Look, I didn't know that was a part of the equation. No, I did not. That is really awesome. Okay, so you've built basically like have developed a whole like curriculum from building keychains, from
Mm-hmm.
creating keychains.
Yes. And even though, because my students were 16 to 24, it was fractions, decimal percents, measurements, and geometry. And although it was that level of math, but I was able to teach it to him in a fun way, in an artful way, in a creative way that he can get it. So repetitions of making a keychain, okay, identify what your colors are. We started listening to multiplications in the car as early as 6. So I would play it going to school and coming home until you got him. So he knew his multiplication before he got to third grade or second grade,
Mm,
just
nice,
because we listened to the song. So
nice.
at that time, he was able, oh, now I can do the long division because I know my timetables, Mom. I was like, yeah. So in 2017, my auntie said, you all need to put this in a book because other kids need to learn how to have fun doing math.
Doing
So we
math,
started
yes.
brainstorming in 2017. We put it away for a little bit, and then we picked it back up in 2019, and we finalized it. Uh, I drew out the cover of it, and I was like, I'm not an artist. So, and then I reached out to one of Kaionta mentors, like, can you recommend me somebody? And he recommended me to this young man named Chris, and Chris been with us ever since then. And he said, Miss Davis, show me what you have. And I showed him mine. He was like, yeah, that's not it. I was like, I know I'm not an artist, but I'm giving you kind of like an
Yeah,
idea of
the
what I'm looking
blueprint.
for
Yeah.
the cover to be like. So he did our cover and back, and with Kaionta and I saw it. Kaionta was like, "Wow, tell me that's a big difference from what you did to what he did." I was like, "Yeah, don't be trying to, what they do, Joan, your mama. I know you an artist too, but I did my best, so I gave them what
Yeah.
I was looking for, and we published Keontae's Math Discovery through Keychain Carnival on Juneteenth of 2019. And we legalized Keychain Carnival March 26th of 2019. So we made
Mm.
everything legit. So we had been operating, just local events from 2010 up until we legalized Keychain Carnival. So
Nice.
yeah, we have the first book. It's going to be a series. I'm going to do the second book, and it's going to cover first grade through third grade. And then the third book is going to be all about algebra, basic algebra, and probably a little bit intermediate algebra, because I figured out how I can write algebra expressions from the designs.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, yes, it's going to be a series.
That is so
It's going to be weird.
amazing. Because you capture, okay, because you got to think about the age range already. Because you got your 7 year old, but you got Job Corps students who are what, teenagers, right? Job Corps is like,
16 to 24.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's 16, young adult, then, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's amazing. Like, because it was like, wait, hold up, you did this with this other class, you're gonna have to do this with us. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then they put a whole
Yeah,
twist on it too. Yes.
yes, because some of the kids from the other math classes was asking their teacher, can they come to my
Uh,
class so they can do math that way? And they was like, Miss Davis, how many seats you got available? I say, if they can bring a chair, I say, because I'm max with my 15 to, 23 kids. But if they bring their chair with them, they can come to my classroom. So they would come to my classroom and we would do the activity, and my students like, Miss Davis, why you make this a project? They was like, you doing too much. Can we just have free Friday? I say, you are having free Friday, but you doing math on your free Friday. And you're going to learn these concepts, terminology, so you can apply it to your high school class. You can apply it to your GED class when you go back there. And they was like, oh man, Tama, we leave it up to her.
no.
And my supervisor, she was like, okay, that's wonderful. I say, Miss Johnson, I can't keep buying materials from the store because it's not enough for the number of students I have. She said, here's a purchase rec. So I wrote out my purchase rec. I put sand art on there. I put the bottles because I already went to Hobby Lobby and scoped everything out.
Mhm.
And I gave it to her. She signed off on it with no problem. And I was like, Miss Johnson, where is my purchase rec? She said, Miss Davis. I was like, what? They didn't approve it? She said, no, they didn't. I said, where is it? She said, it's in my office. I said, can I come get it? She said, yeah. She said, where you going? I said, I'm going down the street to the director. So I
Mm.
walked my little self down the street with my project because I had made it a project with my project
Hmm.
sheet. And I walked down and knocked on the door. Miss Davis, how can we help you? Well, I filled out the purchase rec for these supplies for my classroom and it got denied. Let me see. Well, why are you ordering beads and strings and sand and rings and bottles? I say, because I'm teaching math. How is that related to math? I gave him the project sheet and I gave him my keychain. I say, now start solving.
Oh, yes.
And him and the his assistant director VP, they looked at each other and they looked at the sheet and they looked at my cat in the hat. Why don't you just explain it to us? I was like, okay, where? And I was like, give me a marker. And I went to the board and I explained it. And they just, when I turned around and they just looking at me, okay, Miss Davis, just give me the purchase rec and tell them to go ahead and order your stuff today. Take it down to warehouse. From that on, I did not have a problem when I sent the purchase rec down there because they knew in some kind of way she was going to have math related to
Nice.
it.
Yes, and look at
So,
you, like you were innovative because you showed them a different way of going about it. Like they didn't even see the process. Like they needed you to explain it and really grasp like, oh, okay, no, they really learning from this. They probably saw like, oh, she wants some arts and crafts. She ain't teaching arts and crafts. Like you had to
right.
show them.
Yes, yes. So I ordered 3D puzzles. Like I had all these different things. When they have state to come in to do an inspection, they always brought them to my classroom. I had 3D puzzles hanging from the ceiling. Kids, I had them on the cabinet, and one was the Statue of Liberty, and I had origami. So a student made a gorilla out of the paper and he stuck it on top of the 3D puzzle. And I was like, who made that? And they was like, Miss Davis, we made a gorilla to be on the Statue of Liberty because that's what King Kong did. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, creative. So those are the things that I looked for. I was like, we going to Africa. We are, Miss Davis. How you gonna get money for that? I say, I'm not. We're gonna use our imagination. we're going to use our imagination. And I say, where would you like to go for your first trip to Africa? And everybody wrote down on the index card. I say, now I want you to draw, I want you all to draw your African flag, because I had a lot of artists in my classroom. I
Mm,
say, and now we're going to use the distance formula to see how far is it from your state to the country that you want to go to. So I
mm,
made a whole bulletin board in the back of the classroom. The kids decorated it, um, put the African flags up there, put the distant formula, their cards, put the distant formula on there real big. And those who wanted to add their card to it, their index card, we staple them to the back. Like, I want to go to Kenya, but I live in Chicago. So they did the math of the distant formula, how long it take, travel
mm.
time, and we posted it on there. So I got pictures of all of that. We did smoothies in my classroom. I had 4 blenders. The students made the sign and put out the different type of smoothies and how much it was. You got to have so many good tickets from your teachers in order to, receive these smoothies. So they
Mm.
made a menu. And we posted it outside the classroom, and other kids will be walking in, like, they always doing something, Miss Davis.
Yes, I know the other teachers was like, "Oh my goodness, is she bringing one more project that I might have to hear about?" Yes, step
Yeah.
your game up, teachers. Step your game up.
Yeah, so they got tickets. The cafeteria gave me a keg, brought me over a keg of ice. Other staff members, they brought me they blenders so I could have
Nice.
multiple blenders. My supervisor, she was like, here's the funds, go get the fruits, go get the vegetables, whatever you need to be able to make smoothies in your classroom. So she
Yes.
supported me like everything I did. She supported me.
That is so beautiful. Like that is so amazing. Can you explain what Job Corp is? Because I haven't even heard that in a long time. But is it Job
Yeah,
Corp still around? Like people still do Job Corp?
yeah, it is. Who I was with, they don't have that location anymore. And I think
Mm.
it's been 2 other organizations that have taken over the one that I was at. And trade, they did the trade schools, they had the GED program, and they had the high school program, which they partnered with Normandy School District. And they had on campus housing,
Mm.
and those who had kids, they didn't stay on campus, but they allowed them different times to come to school because they had to drop kids off to daycare or what have you. But there was a daycare on the outside of Job Corps that wasn't far from where we was at. So basically, it's a training program that helped them get their GED, their high school diploma, or if they came and just needed a trade because they already had their high school diploma. One of my oldest students, I had 2 older students that they tried uh, to see how this would work in the program. I can't think of his name, but he was 64. He was 64, and they
Okay.
put him in my classroom. Now, he had already obtained his GED. He was coming out of incarceration, but the
Mm.
man was smart.
Oh, I know it.
He was smart as a whip. And the kids would just call him Mr. Gum Man because he always had gum. Always. So the kids knew, I can't remember his name. Can I have a piece of gum? He said, you sure can. And he would come out of his pocket with packs of gum. Packs of
Oh,
gum. So he would, give some wisdom to some of the younger students who was willing to listen. But then you had some like this OG, I was like, have some respect. But they put him in my classroom because they knew that he would get the most out of it. And it didn't take him long to test out of my classroom. His writing skills was impeccable, even though I had math, but I had them do some stuff that revolves writing. I was like, you wrote this? I was like, this is awesome. So he would tell me his story, his journey, and he was sharing that with the kids like, hey, I made a wrong turn. This where it led me. and you all can recover, but be mindful of what you're doing, and who you around.
Mhm.
He said, because I had plenty of years taken away from me, but he was sharp. He
Yeah.
was super sharp. And he was the one that stayed after and helped make the smoothies during the, after lunch and after school, because other staffs from other buildings was coming over getting smoothies.
Get
So he was
smoothies,
like,
yeah.
Miss Davis, I got you. He said, I'm running the smoothie, all 5 of the smoothie machines. What's your order?
Oh, nice. I love that. I didn't even know they
Yes.
did that. Like that's awesome. Because I remember me being in high school, and hearing people talk about Job Corp. And I understood it to be a trade school, like, like somewhere where they'll go and take extra classes in regards to whatever kind of field they're in. Like most of the time it was like cosmetology type stuff or
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what else, but
Carpentry,
yeah, yes.
woodwork,
Yes, woodwork and stuff. Yes.
culinary.
Yeah.
See, what's the CNAs? There's the one who deal with nursing. They did
Yes.
that too as well. But yeah, he
Yeah.
was my oldest, and I had a young lady that was 54. They put into my classroom. So those
Oh,
were the 2 oldest students that I had.
oh wow. Yes. That's beautiful that they open the doors for them to be able to gain that experience and gain those traits ultimately, right? Because is
Mm-hmm.
it you choosing what you're gonna go into, or is it just like a all like you get a taste of each one of them?
During their first initial, I want to say 5 to 6 weeks, they get exposure and then they pick one. So once they come
Okay.
down to our academics building, they have decided on what trade they're going to do, and they work on their math and reading skill to get it to a level to where they don't have to be in the math and reading class anymore if they
Mm.
already have their high school diploma. If they don't and they're getting their high school diploma and GED, they have to stay in the math classes and reading class until they take out. And then
Mm.
there'll be more full-time trade. And if they pass a GED, now they full-time trade because they're not in academics anymore because they fulfilled all the requirements.
Gotcha. How long did it typically last, like as far as the program goes? Like how long were students there?
It all depends. We had students that was there a year.
Mm.
Some shorter because they came in, they was focused, they did their work, they tested out, and then they did their trade. And from their trade, they end up getting an intern job, and
Oh,
they were
nice.
gone.
I
So
was
it
gonna
all
say, do they get
depends on the
certified?
student.
What is a
Hmm. In their
certification?
trade. Hmm.
Nice. That is nice. And they got an internship from the school.
Hmm.
Oh, that is
Yes.
beautiful.
And they got paid every 2 weeks too.
Oh, yeah. Wait, while doing the school or the
Yeah.
internship?
No, by being a student. They got paid
What?
every 2 weeks. Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
should have been in that. But no, you hear people talk about how important trades are now. Like, they're phasing out a lot of things. And I even just recently saw like an article talking about bachelor companies not requiring a bachelor's degree anymore and looking more at experience. And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, so, you expect a high school student to come out of high school with experience in whatever they're going into, but most of them do not. Like majority of them do not have any experience because they're not going
Right.
to trade school. So I feel like Job Corp should be something that everyone gets to experience. Like it's something of that nature, some kind of trade, like,
Hmm.
should be mandatory in high school so that when they do graduate and they're building their resumes, they are actually coming from a
Right.
place of experience. So
Right.
Job Corps is very important. Like, but that's why I didn't hear it when I taught in school. I didn't have a lot of
Hmm.
kids going outside. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was something similar to Job Corp, but it wasn't called Job Corp anymore.
Okay.
But it was something in regards to, but it was still like a fraction of students who actually, experience that. So
Right.
I just like that's why I love and I hope that's something that comes back around, or it may still be like, a thing. I'm not there anymore, so I don't know. But
Right.
I will hope there's
And they even
organizations. Mhm.
and they had dual enrollment. So some kids were at high schools and then they would do half of the day and come over and do their trade because they wanted to stay in the
Yes.
traditional Normandy High School and then just came over for trade. So they did
Yeah.
have that as well. But yeah, that's where it all started in my
That's
classroom,
nice.
at Job Corps. And I just did a whole lot of innovative things because I was like, you know what? I'm getting bored. I'm starting to sound like the kid now. I have to do something different. I have to do something different and
And you did
fast
it.
because you're going to lose me.
Yeah, right, right. And I wish that they had those innovative teachers when I was learning math, because that was my thing. Like, oh, this is too much. Like, this is, it's all paperwork. Like, all, everything
Hmm.
is on paper. And it's like when everything's already complicated, being able to visualize something is way different. So I could just imagine the keychains with the beads and you talking about the fractions. Like, I'm thinking, because my girls just made some snowflakes the other day with beads. I'm like, oh, we
Hmm.
could do that with that. Like, while I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
we could do that with that. Like, that is really awesome. And so what do y'all do? Y'all go around? Because I came across your business in a homeschool group, in a St. Louis
Hmm.
homeschool group. So do y'all go around to schools? Do y'all go around? Like, how do y'all operate?
When we legalized everything in 2019, we were just starting. We was just learning what we need to do to be able to expand. Then the pandemic hit.
Mm,
Since we were always going out and majority of what we do was participating at events, we hadn't even tapped in the schools after school program. I didn't know about that. I'm just
mm,
learning. I'm just stepping into a new lane here. So during the pandemic, I used that time to build, to create, to brainstorm, like, where do we need to present this to? And I'm glad that I had that time to be able to learn some stuff, to look at webinars, seminars, sit in on stuff and find out how can this be helpful in the community.
mm,
So I got into my first entrepreneur program, which is Square One Boot Camp. One of the Kaionta mentors referred me. I got in. We were virtual because it was still the pandemic. That's where I started learning how to monetize Keychain Karnival, what to do, what entities to tap into, who I need to talk to, what do I need to do for as my scope, like everything. I was like, I'm new stepping in deep waters and I know how to swim. I know how to get to the top. And I know what I
yes.
need to do if I start panicking, flip over and float. But Square One Boot Camp was so helpful to me. Had I not had the business class, because I did a double major, one in business and one in technology, had I not had that background exposure in school, all of what they were talking would have been foreign to me.
Mm,
So I can relate to some of the terminology, some of the concepts because of my education. And when they talked about the technology, apps and programs to do whatever you need to do or looking to do, I can relate because 25 plus years in IT. So
mm.
all of those things was beneficial and helpful to me. But I didn't know anything about starting a business. I knew you had to have all these things because I look at other business. I'm like, I know they have to have accounting, legal, finance, tax, HR, policies and procedures. I knew you had to have all of that, but I didn't know how to structure Keychain Karnival. Had to do a business plan. I was like, I never did a business plan. They was like, just write down, here's an example of one, and you mirror that and just write down your thoughts from this template. And I did. Got red line plenty of times like a teacher do when you bring your paper up. Go back, you need to do this. Now I've done it over and over. And I did it. I want to say I did it about 4 times. Now I haven't
Mm.
did it in a couple of years. So yeah, some things have changed from when I initially put the business plan together. So now I need to do it again to make it up to date. But they helped me a lot. They gave us assignments. We were broken down in groups. We talked about our business. We talked about how you go out and get surveys, who you can connect with to ask them if they like your idea, like where to go. And the people, my classmate in the groups, since we're dialoguing, they may know something that I didn't know and refer me, and I may know something. So we share information. In addition to our mentor giving us assignments on what we need to do to help us build our brand, I always was doing something more. Like I come up with something, oh, this is a good idea, and I would do it, and then I would reach out and or show up or whatever the case may be. So when we came back to class the next day, okay, what did you all do? Um, Tell me, how did you solve this problem or whatever from the assignment? I did this, but I also did this, and I spoke to this person that gave me feedback. So by me always doing more than what my mentor assigned to us to do, I believe that was the edge that gave me an opportunity to have another 6 months with him one
Mm.
on one. Because after we completed the 12 weeks, I got an email and say, you've been selected to move to the next level.
Nice.
And here's your mentor, was my same mentor, and you get to have him for 6 months one on one. I was like, what? I was like, it paid off. I say, because even in those 12 weeks, I say, I still don't know everything. There's still
Mm.
things that need to be done, you know, put in place, structure, layout, all of that. So I was elated to know that I had Mark to myself one on one. I'm gonna call you out, Mark. And
Okay.
he's good people. And he helped me. He's like, you never seems to amaze me, still in all, in our 6 months of him directing me, guiding me. I would do that, and I was still doing other stuff that we haven't even talked about, or I came up after the fact. And let's see, let me see how this worked. And I implemented. So I was showing him stuff, and he was like, it just never ceased to amaze me. He was like, can you imagine? He said, from where you were the very first time you stepped into square one to where you are now, it's a transformation. Like
Mm.
the growth is just enormous from where you were and to where you're at now. And I still keep in touch with him. And I shoot him email, Mark, can you take a look at this? What do you think about this? Or can you refer me? This is what I'm trying to do. Do you have any contacts or connects? And he'll shoot me back here, read over what I have, give some suggestions. And with whoever I'm looking for, whatever I'm looking for, if he knows somebody, he shoot it back to me. So
Mm.
yeah, amazing, amazing. And I've
Yes.
been through 4 entrepreneur programs, and I'm still learning. So I'm
Yes.
taking all of that in, and it's just helping me grow and grow and grow. You can see the cleaner version each time I come out of one of those programs.
Nice, nice. So what have you grown to do? Like what are y'all doing now? Because you
We're
say you were just doing events before. So where are y'all
So
at with
coming out of
things?
the pandemic, Better Family Life gave us our first opportunity. So we
Mm.
did summer um, STEM summer camp with them,
Oh,
and some
nice.
of their staff was on the after school program with Normandy School District. So they enjoyed our program, and they was like, we need to have them for our after school program when school start. So they reached out to us, and we did after school program for Normandy School District, about 5 schools. We had over 200 kids, and it was just me and my son, you know,
Nice.
working all the kids. And that was our first opportunity. So from there, Better Family has been bringing us back every year.
Nice.
we have we did a workshop, a 1 day workshop with the Magic House. We have done after school program with Better Family outside of during the summer. And we've done summer stand with Unleashing Potential, uh, Northside Youth Family Services, and who else is somewhere? Century 21, so that's part of Normandy. So we're
Okay.
slowly growing
Outward,
and
yes.
offering our STEM services. So the thing
Nice.
is, not only that, to be able to offer these essential learning tools for homeschool parents,
Hmm.
where they can implement this in their teaching with their kids. Because I know it can be challenging. And it's like, oh, the kid don't want to do this. I got to figure out a way. You can always cook. We can always go into cooking and teach that math, but you want to have a variety of things to be able to relate that math to home when you're doing homeschool. So that's one of the entities they mentioned to me. Oh, you need to tap into homeschool. You need to tap into, and one of my classmates from Square One, he said, so when I was going to therapy, because I had an accident with my hands, and it was
Mm-hmm.
called dexterity. He said, we made keychains. We played with that. That was part of our rehab. He said, so that's an entity you can
Mm.
tap into. So homeschool, the occupational therapy to tap into. And I even thought, I was like, okay, seniors have activities. Senior living,
Mm-hmm.
they have activities. They have people to come in and do things with them. I say that's another one. They
Mm.
cognitive thinking, keeping a math skills sharp, and being creative. So it's
Yeah.
still crafts and arts, but yet fueling the brain to keep it
Mm-hmm.
sharp. So that's another entity right there. School districts, um, the after school program. And the key right now is for me to be able to get into the classroom during the day and do a workshop with the kids. So that's
Right.
something that I will be working on after the first of the year to try to make that connection because all I need is one.
Nice.
All I need
Yes,
is one.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So y'all, you partner with different organizations. Like basically you partner with a lot of different organizations and bring your workshop to them.
Yes. Now, I do sometimes schedule like workshops on the weekend where I use the CIC space, and
Mhm.
that's separate. So those kids who are not in these organizations for after school or community centers, given an opportunity to be exposed to the Math STEM program outside of that, and I would do it at the CIC space. And when we
Nice.
did it for Halloween, I was like, you know what? I'm decorating the office. I'm decorating the space that the conference room. I went in and I put all the Halloween stuff, laid the table out, put the stickers on the glass door, and I even dressed up. I even dressed up, and they was like, "Oh, that's so nice, so neat." And that was like, "Well, where are the kids at?" I was like, "Nobody signed their kids up." But I
Mm.
went down, I showed up, I decorated, and I was there. And I even stayed there the whole time because I was doing work anyway. I made sure I took my laptop. I made sure I took, the other stuff, my lamination machine, because there was things I wanted to get done. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I'm here at the space. I reserved it. I might as well get some work done. And my
Nice.
son was like, Mom, because he was so disappointed the first time we hosted a workshop, and he was all excited because he a kid and he animated, and he still like he played with them, because that's still how he is. And he was like, Mama, ain't nobody here.
Oh.
I was like, no. And he was devastated. He was like, why you not sad? I was like, well, it's a little disappointment. I say, but I'm an adult and I know how to handle it. I say, so we just gonna stay here and do some work, and then we'll go home.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay. So occasionally I would do another one. He said, Mom, and the Halloween one, since he was away at school, he said, Mama, he said, I'm proud that you continue to put that on and host it,
Nice.
even though nobody is signing their kids up, but you still doing. He said, and
Nice.
I give my hats off to you
Oh,
And the
nice.
first time he said, "Why are you going to keep doing it if nobody show up?" I said, "Kaionta, because the day that I stop is the day a lot of kids going to really need some help. And they're going to be looking for somebody to show them
Mm,
to get through their struggles, to get through their fears, and build their confidence." I say, so I'm going to show up every time I host. I will advertise, I would do the payment plan, I would do all of that. And I'm still going to show up. Regardless if I don't get no
yes.
email to say nobody register, I'm still going to show up and set up because somebody might just come knock at their door that didn't register. And I'm going to be there. So I say, all it takes is one.
That is
That's
so
all it took for Tyler Perry.
awesome.
One. I say, so
Yes.
we had 5 workshops right now where nobody showed up. I'm going to keep going to see how many it's going to take before one person show up. And I say, and that's a testimony. Because all it's going to take is that one
Yes.
kid and one parent that sit
And
through
then
that
they go
hour and
spread the
go through the
word.
process. Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Nice. Well, I appreciate all that you do. This is so amazing. I'm so looking forward to having you at the St. Louis Homeschool Your Kids Expo. Like, this is really going to be cool. I really, really appreciate all that you're doing to make math fun and innovative and creative and tapping into the STEM world. All of that is very, very much needed. So thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you, and
you. Thank you
Keontae.
for
Thank you, and Keontae. I appreciate y'all.
he
Yes.
came in here with his hat. He was like, "Mom, do I need to pop my head up?"
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to meeting y'all both in person. Before I let you go, can you give me 3 things that parents can do to make math fun and homeschooling world? How can we make math fun for our youth?
You parents can make math fun by you could do it through music. If there's a favorite song that the kid likes and there's a certain instrument that's constantly played throughout that song, have them listen for that instrument and see how many times that instrument is heard in that song.
Mm,
How many different instruments, and calculate them. They can
okay.
take the number for the different type of instruments. They can make an addition problem out of it. They can make a subtraction problem out of it. They can make a division problem out of it. They can do algebra from it if they want to. You can.
Nice.
You can do that. Food, of course, definitely, because when you cooking something, a recipe, the recipe is fractions.
Hmm.
The recipe is measurements. So if a recipe calls for a half a cup of flour, a half a cup of milk, 1 cup of water, you can take all those numbers and add them and do an expression for a fraction. You can do an expression for a subtraction fraction. You just have to know the rules for it.
Mm,
You could do multiplication and you could do division. You could tell that kid, okay, add the fraction of a half a cup of milk plus um, a half a cup of orange juice. Milk and orange juice. Well, I know that's probably a bad recipe. That's probably a bad recipe. Let me do a half a cup of milk plus a half a cup of rolled oats.
a little better. That's a little better. Yes.
And have them solve that, and that's how you can have fun with math. One of the videos we have on YouTube, Kaionta actually made a pizza. And in his video, he's eating, he shows the portion of the pizza, and he take a piece and he was eating the pizza in the video. He was like, how much did I eat out of my
Mm,
serving?
mm,
That's a fraction. I did one with lemon cookies. They look good, they smell good, but something I did wrong, they was hard. But I got my point across with because I decorated the lemon cookies with raspberries and blueberries so they can
mm.
see the different ratio of
Yeah.
cookies with the berries. Yeah, that was hard. My mom was like, why you bring that? I was like, Mom, I'm just knocking on the table with them. You don't want that.
I know.
So
Nice.
food, music, and things that's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
They can measure the table, they can measure the cabinet, they can walk with their feet and do lengths and widths of room and total it up. How many doors in there? How many how many doors in the entire house, but how many doors for a bathroom?
Nice.
You got 2 out of 5 if there's 5 doors.
Mm-hmm.
The bedrooms, how many bedrooms in the house? How many doors to the bedroom? 3, but how many doors in the entire house?
Mm-hmm.
So you still can do math with things in your house. Music, food is a go-to
Nice.
all the time. Even with them, how many people in the household? How many people in the household? 5. How many people baby toe is crooked? Be fun without it because I know it. You know, they be joning on each other. Look at your
Yeah.
feet, but look at your feet. Yours
Mm-hmm.
point to the east, mine's point to the west. Like, be fun and be creative with it.
I love it. Where can we find Keychain Carnival?
Keychain Carnival is on Facebook. Now, there's 2 listed out there. Our first account got hacked, and it's the
Mm,
Keychain Carnival with the LLC. That's not the current one. So you want to go to the Keychain Carnival. That's just Keychain Carnival for
okay.
Facebook. For
And the carnival is
Instagram,
with K. You gotta
yes,
make sure, yes, carnival is spelled with a K.
yeah, we wanted to make it different and unique because my students at Job Corps helped me brainstorm. We was like, this name. I was like, what about this name? Was this? We was like, well, since we're making all these different type of keychains, let it be quantified. I say yes, but with a K. They was
Mm,
like, yeah, because that's different. I was like, exactly. So
nice,
Keychain Carnival on Facebook, Keychain Carnival on Instagram, Keychain Carnival on YouTube, and what else do we have? I haven't created the TikTok yet. I haven't created
okay,
that. So it's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And our website is www.keychaincarnival.com.
nice. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you, thank you,
Yes,
thank
yes.
you.
Like,
Yes.
what holiday can I come dressed up in? Because the kids, the last 2 weeks, the kids was like, what? Yeah, we came effed up. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry. That don't even sound right. We we came in our elves costume. Oh, yeah. I should have thought
yeah,
about that one.
that is funny.
We came in our elves costume and they was like, oh my God, y'all look so cute. So and we brought
Nice.
them elves hats. So everybody had a Christmas hat. So we put Christmas hats on all the kids.
Awesome.
And they made Christmas trees keychains. So they did an amazing job.
Nice.
They did an
Thank
amazing
you.
job.
Thank you for all
Thank
that y'all
you.
are doing. Thank you. Thank you. Parents, parents. Listen, listen. You heard it. Math can be fun in whatever way you make it. So just try to be innovative and creative and just keep on homeschooling your kids. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I think that's the best way.